Okay.
Welcome, everyone. David wasn't able to join us. He's just fried in the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and interview Bliss, get to know him a bit better. But David will be doing an interview with him as well, and you'll get that video as well. So welcome, Bliss. Thank you for
Hi.
joining us. And looking forward to, well, first of all, I want to learn more about you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit about you and your life and
Okay. Well, let's see where to start. Um, well, I've been doing spiritual work for many. I'm 68 years old, and I've been doing it since I was 22 years old. I had when I was younger. I grew up in a really violent. I had a violent home, and I had violent neighborhood, and so I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't have safety and security because there was none in my world. And then when I turned 22, I realized that I found meditation. And the first time I meditated, it was the first time I really had peace. And so I meditate. That was 46 years ago. And so I've been meditating ever since then, every day for
so
hour, 2, 3 hours, even.
found meditation. How'd you find meditation?
I was just walking into the local library one day, and there was a sign, and it said Transcendental Meditation, and I had no idea what it was, but I knew I had to do, it. And I did. And at the time, I was smoking pot and drinking alcohol, and the instructor told me I had to stop for 2 weeks,
Right.
and I had no problem because I really didn't enjoy it anyway. So I stopped smoking weed and stopped. It was like coming home. It was so amazing.
So tell us a little
I
bit
just
then
loved it.
your your first initial experiences with meditation.
It was just like well, with transcendental meditation, they give you a mantra,
Hmm.
and then you just sit for like 20 minutes and you just say the mantra very calmly inside, and um, and that's what I did, and I just got really calm and peaceful inside. And like I said, it was the first time. It really wasn't anything more than that. It was just
Right.
feeling calm and peaceful for the first time in my life.
Right.
And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, this is like coming home."
Aw.
So,
So then what happens in your life? I mean, you were meditating, but how did you bring technology and frequency and David Sereda into your life? What was a transition there? Was there other spiritual paths that you went on and learned about before that?
well, actually, no. What happened was that I just got involved with meditation for many, many years, and
Yeah.
then about 8 years ago, I I found this woman online, and she did this meditation. Her name was Christine Day,
Right.
and she was a Pleiadian channel, and it was so funny when I loved her meditation, but I wanted to have nothing to do with Pleiadians. It was like I had that negative thing about extraterrestrials.
Right.
And but after I did her meditation for like probably 3 or 4 weeks, and then the Pleiadians started communicating with, they started coming in my meditation, and
Right.
then that was about 8 or 9 years ago, and so that's when I got involved with them, and then they helped me to to activate my DNA.
Okay.
So I could there a lot of the meditation I did with them for a couple years was about activating my DNA.
Wow.
And so it's because of that, my DNA getting activated, I know that that's why I'm able to use the staff so effectively. And I told you this before, Shah Iraz, that I was communicating with the staff before I even got it. I could sense its energy
Yeah, you
before I
told
even
me.
got it, and that's really common. Like when I work a lot with crystals, and before a lot of times I'll buy them just online, and they'll come to me before I even receive them, and I'm connecting with them. So activating my DNA really made it possible for me to be able to communicate telepathically with um, higher dimensional beings and with connecting with like I connect with the Giza pyramid and other, Stonehenge, and I go to Mount Shasta a lot. Mount Shasta is another high, really vibrational place that I go to. I was just there for 9 days a couple weeks ago
Right.
for the Lions Gate, and that I connect with the. I'm a Lemurian priest, so I connect with Lemurian city of Telos is under Mount Shasta, and so I go down there and connect with them quite often, and then they come here. I don't know if you can see, but I have a portal here
Wow.
on my land,
Yeah.
and that's a pyramid that I
Okay.
have. And so the ascended master Adama, he's the ascended master of Lemuria. He comes here regularly and he helps me to fortify the portal here, and to raise the vibration in the portal.
Right.
So he comes here regularly to do that.
So that raises a few questions. One, you said the Palladians came to you and they helped you activate your DNA. And that was after that meditation you went to. So how did they come to you? First question.
Uh-huh.
Activated your DNA. What does that entail? And Lemuria. For those who don't know what Lemuria is, maybe you can talk a little bit about the history of Lemuria.
Okay, I'll do that first. So Lemuria was a continent in the Pacific, and it went all the way from California to Japan,
Right.
and it was there. I don't know, it could have been millions of years. It was there a long time, and it sank about 12,000 years ago, about the same time they went down first, and then Atlantis went down. And so Atlantis and Lemuria existed at the same time, and Atlantis was more of the masculine energy, and they were messing around with technology, and they apparently they really screwed up with their technology, and they're the ones that caused this major catastrophe 12,000 years ago.
Right.
And Lemuria was more of the feminine, and they were trying to get Atlantis to stop doing what they were doing, but they just wouldn't. And so, about a short time before Lemuria sank, there were I was on the continent at the time, and there were 25,000 of us that went into Mount Shasta. We got permission from the inner Earth beings to build a city under Mount Shasta,
Right.
and we were in the process of building that, and we had planned on getting people off the continent, off of Lemuria before it sank, but it sank overnight. It went down so fast that we didn't get a chance to get people off the continent. And so a
Wow.
lot of the beings who are on the planet now are Lemurians who are still traumatized by by that by the sinking.
So,
So
so we're in
go ahead.
we're in a new reincarnation of Lemurians, basically, is what you're trying to tell me.
That we're what? A new
The beings of today are reincarnations of that Lemurian period. Is
a
that
lot of a lot of beings here yeah, are Lemurians who, yeah,
okay? Fair enough.
a lot of people, and they're having trouble transitioning into they're still traumatized by the third dimensional reality, the density, and then all the stuff that's happened on the planet just re-traumatizes them, and so they're not really able to break free of that, and so
Okay.
that's why I'm here, is to help people be able to do that.
Right. Okay. Tell us now about the Palladians, how they communicated with you, and
Sure.
created that reality for you.
Well, actually, they communicated with me because Christine Day had a book, Principles of Living, I think was the book that I read back then. So when I first started listening to her, I did her meditation, and then I bought her book,
Hmm.
and she had meditations in the book that the Pleiadians had channeled to her.
Right.
And so I was doing those meditations, and in the meditations, the Pleiadians they were showing me how to connect with my heart center,
right,
and then raising up like my right palm. They would have me send energy out through my palm to them, and then they would send energy back to me through my palm, and then I was able to feel that, and then I could really get a sense of their energy, and then um, I was able to communicate with them without her after a little while of doing that. I mean, I was doing those meditations for a long time, for a number of years, because Christine kept putting out um, she kept putting out meditation classes,
right,
and I kept doing them. I couldn't get enough of it. I was like so hungry for, because I knew that this was what I was supposed to be doing. So I was so hungry for connecting with them, and then I started connecting with the Lemurians, and then with other higher dimensional beings,
right.
and so that's how I got connected to them.
Wow. And so when
And
did so when
then one more thing, when I went to Mount Shasta last September, I I was camped out in my van, and well, actually, usually I sleep in my tent, but it was raining really hard, so I thought, well, I'm just going to sleep in my van.
right,
And when I laid down, I could look up through the back window and I could see the sky through my van, right?
right,
And so I went to sleep, and at exactly 4 in the morning,
yeah,
I got woken up, and there was a Pleiadian ship up above my van. It was like it was up there, and it was moving like really erratically.
yeah, right,
And I asked them, I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "We wanted you to know that we're here just for you,
uh,
and we wanted to make no mistake." And then I started laughing so hard, and then they started laughing so hard. And then they said to me, "If you ever want to connect with us, just start laughing, and we'll be there."
right. Wow. Well, that's beautiful. Um, so okay, okay, these Palladians contacted you. Now let's talk about the DNA activation. What does that entail?
Okay, that well, that was involved in a lot of the meditations, and it involved sounds, and it involved sacred geometric shapes that they would put on the screen. This was in the class, and so doing the sounds and looking at these shapes, these sacred geometric shapes, doing that and moving energy in my body was that how that happened. And so those meditations, and they created those. They said that those meditations they've had for millions of years, and they used them when they moved out of from third dimensional reality into fifth dimensional reality millions of years ago, our time. And so that technology they brought to the planet, and so they were teaching people that were following Christine. And then I went to Christine's land in Minnesota, and I studied with her there. I did seminars with her there,
Right,
and so I was really involved with her for about 4 or 5 years.
right. And so it was a synergistic experience working with her, and that energy probably helped expand your reality of the Palladians in your reality. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because and right now, Shah, I actually live on my land. Um, that Adama, he's the ascended master, the Mauryan ascended master. He came here and he told me that he's built what he calls a plasma field around my property.
Hmm.
And a plasma field is like about 3 or 4 inches of like, did you ever see, like when you watch like Star Trek or one of those shows where they have a force field?
Yeah.
Well, that's what a plasma field is. It's about 3 or 4 inches of an energy field, and it's around my land, and that helps me raise the vibration here so that I don't get infiltrated by negative energy. And then plus he comes and he helps me fortify it, and so I've been doing that here for like 2 years, and
Right,
a lot of people have come here, and right now there's three of us living here,
right,
and we do ceremony every day, and we have this portal that I showed you, and this is what we do. We live in the 5D, the fifth dimension here all the time. We very rarely have, our vibration doesn't go lower than that,
that's it.
very rarely, so.
So Bliss, then, sorry, I'm calling you Bliss. You're Chris Diggins, but I've been calling you Bliss since
Okay.
the.
Yeah, I go by Bliss, yeah.
um, so Basically, when you're talking about the Palladians and you're talking about this DNA activation and how it happened over time, would you say the fact that you meditated all that time made that possible for you?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it was that, but it was also I was so devoted. I
Right.
mean, I did this every day, and well, I couldn't really do it every day, Sha, because what would happen is I would do the meditation, and I would my vibration would get so high, it would kind of like it took me 2 or 3 days to integrate what was happening.
Yeah.
So for 2 or 3 days, I couldn't really meditate until I got that integrated, and then I would do it again, But
Got you.
I was so hungry for that connection
Right.
because that was the only time I was happy. It was when I was in that higher vibration.
Yeah, I know.
Because because there was just so because of all the stuff on the planet that was happening at that time, it was affecting me much more than it like now it doesn't affect me at all because I just don't get involved with it at all. But
Right.
back then, there was so much going on. There was like, there was all the war stuff, there was like George Bush and then Obama came into office and so that was all happening, during that time. And so so there was just all this stuff happening on the planet politically and I was it was stressful for me, so I had to stop doing that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Um, So I would say that meditation is something that you got to commit to. Raising your vibration is something you got to commit to and it has to be something you love and you aspire for. And when you do, that's when your reality changes. It isn't something that's going to happen in the background. You do have to engage with it and you have to do it consciously, correct?
Exactly, yes.
So,
100%, yeah. Yeah, so I was devoted to my meditation practice and I was devoted to experiencing this higher vibration, you know.
and
So,
because of that, it's almost like you were rewarded, right?
yeah.
Would you
Yeah,
agree?
it just makes it easy, and at one point like I wasn't really that connected to nature, and to plants and spirits, but I just started working really hard. Like there's a guy named what's his name? Stephen Buhner.
Right,
He wrote a book called The Secret Teaching of Plants,
right,
and I got that book about 6 or 7 years ago. And he really teaches you how to connect energetically with plants. I mean, that's his whole thing. And so when I got that, then I started meditating on that, and I started connecting with plant energy,
right,
and being able to connect with the tree spirits. And
right.
so all those things are about raising your vibration and connecting with multidimensional beings, or yeah, I call the trees and plants are multidimensional. And so connecting with them, so it was all one big soup for me.
Chris,
So one thing just fed another.
what would you say to the skeptical? Like, I'm communicating with plants, I'm communicating with the stars and Palladians. What would you say to the skeptical person? Because they're gonna say like, yeah, okay, sure. What would you say to them?
Um, well, I usually don't talk to people that are skeptics because there's really no point.
Agree.
But because I can't convince anyone of anything.
There,
I guess I would just say that this is something that I'm able to do and that I love doing, and I think it's really valuable and it's fun. And it adds so much to my life. If you're happy, if you're really happy and living without all of that, which I doubt that you are, I don't think you can be happy if you're not living in your heart.
yeah,
And so, and you have to live in your heart in order to do all these things that we're talking about.
right.
So, and I think if you're living in your heart, you want to do those things.
You got a question?
Somebody just asked what was the name.
It wasn't
Just asked what was the name of the. So the name of the book was The Secret Teaching of Plants
a secret teaching of plants.
by Stephen Buhner. You can
Well,
find it on Amazon.
we'll have to look that up, Elizabeth.
Mhm.
Um, Chris, now let's talk about meditating with sound and geometry. and let's talk about your experience there a little bit more.
Okay. Well, I should add one more thing. There's another person who I've been studying with for about 3 years, and her name is Sandra Walter,
Okay.
and her website is sandrawalter.com. And
Right.
she is, I think she's the highest evolved being leading the ascension on the planet.
Wow.
She goes off world regularly and meets with these beings, the white um, sisterhood and brotherhood, I think they're called,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she sits in circle with them. And her website, sandrawalter.com, she has a DNA activation class. It's called DNA Activation Mastery Class
Right.
that I took. I think it was a year and a half ago, and it's still on her website. And that is an amazing class. I mean, there's like 50 lessons in it, and she says it'll take you a year to get through this class. I got through it in a month
Right.
because I was just, again, it was so hungry. And she has basic meditations that really help activate your DNA. I mean, really, I mean, it was so effective. It was really pretty amazing how powerful they were.
You said
So I highly recommend people checking her out.
you say you're visited by Adama, the leader of the Lemurians.
Mhm.
How does he visit you in his astral form?
Yeah, well, yeah, uh-huh. Well, he comes, he mostly, yeah, he comes in his etheric body, and then I don't really see him, but I definitely feel his energy.
Right.
And one night I woke up in the middle of the night and he was at the foot of my bed and he was there in his light body. I
Right.
mean, it was definitely him, and he was in his light body, and I had to tell him to turn it down because it was like I almost couldn't stand it. It was too much. And I could probably handle it now, but 2.5 years ago, I couldn't. My vibration wasn't high enough that I could be in the same room with him.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure I could handle it now if he came
Right.
in
And
that form. In that form.
have you had visitations from anyone else that other than
Yeah, I'm actually ISIS came about. This was before I got the staff,
right?
and I think this played into me getting the staff
Okay.
because I think it was about 5 months ago. I got the staff. I think three months ago. I think I got it in June. But 5 months ago, ISIS came. Well, first, Mother Mary came, and I was doing some meditation with her.
Okay.
And then I started getting involved with Mary Magdalene and Yeshua
Yeah.
and Mother Mary and Anna, who is Jesus's grandmother.
Yeah.
She came. And so they were like, I was involved with them in meditation. And then one time, Isis came and she just like came into my body. I mean, she didn't ask or anything, and it was just like I could tell it was her, but she just like took over my body, and just like at first I was like scared, like because I didn't know if it was really her. I didn't know if this was safe or not,
Did you know?
but she was just telling me to calm down, that it was okay, and just to relax, and so I did, and so she came in, and I had been studying with a tantric sex practitioner, a teacher, a coach. She
Right.
calls herself a tantric coach, and there I was learning how to experience my tantric sexual energy.
Right.
And um, and Isis, of course, Isis and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. They're all practice tantric, and Jesus. They're all tantric practitioners, and so that's why I had gotten involved with them, and then she came in, and then so I've been working with my tantric sexual energy as well as doing the DNA activation and that kind of thing.
Right.
So that's really another level, because in that
Yeah.
it's really powerful because you're really connecting with, tantric sex is so different than what most people think of sexuality. Most people think sexuality have, you know, foreplay, orgasm, intercourse and orgasm, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, tantric sex isn't about that at all. Tantric sex is about experiencing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And when we get when we get involved with that energy, then like when you have a partner, so the man gets the masculine energy and the woman gets involved in the feminine, and then you meet in that place of those two energies. I mean, it's like an orgasm, but it's not like there's no like ejaculation or anything like that. But it's so. But I've experienced that before, and that's actually what I'm working on now is how to do that. I don't really have a partner to do that with right now, but I think she'll be coming soon. But because that's what, and I think that's what Isis is. That's what Isis is. She's like the tantric sex. She's like the main person who's involved with the tantric sexual practices. So I know that that's why she's here. And the stat, getting to the staff is what is really helping me to connect with her more effectively than I was able to before. See, as soon as I say that, Sean, look at the wind spirit. This is what happens. I'm outside, and as soon as I start talking about this and I bring the staff up, the wind spirits come in. That's what happens here. They just come in and they kind of raise the vibration even more. So that's kind of something that happens here regularly.
So let's talk about your staff. You receive your staff in the mail. Well, let's talk about before you receive your staff, because
Okay.
you had a premonition that you wanted the staff, you needed the staff, even before before you contacted me and started talking to me about it, kind of thing.
Right.
And
Well, I saw David's video with George Norrie.
right,
I saw that on YouTube. I just happened to find that. And I actually bought, let's see, years ago, this is one of David's pendants.
absolutely.
So I bought that probably 3 years ago from David. So I
Right.
hadn't really had any contact with David. I hadn't seen any of his stuff for a long time. And then I saw him on George Norrie with the staff. And then as soon as I saw that, and then there were other people that George was interviewing about the pyramids and about the Giza pyramid and about Isis and about um, um, what was not Orion, what Osiris was he is Isis's mate, I think his her soulmate.
Okay.
Osiris, yeah, Osiris was one of the beings.
Oh, just a sec.
Okay, sorry, my internet connection lost.
Elizabeth said you should turn down the amp on the staff.
Good idea. So
Okay.
actually, I don't really use I plug it in at night, but I don't use it. I don't use the generator during the day because it doesn't. I don't really need it to. I just it just gets charged and I don't even need the staff in my hand. Oftentimes, I'll just leave it in the house and I just go meditate and I know I connect with it energetically. So
Yeah, and that was my experience too. When I first got the staff, I don't know if I ever told you, I told other people, but it was Mr. Wong, and he hands me the staff. And do you know that um, famous picture of in the Ten Commandments of Moses? He has a tablet in one hand and the staff in the other. Well, the tablet basically touches the ground, goes up in the air, and it was the left hand, and to the left. Like,
that who did what?
that happened to me when he handed me the staff. This is like a prototype staff. It's not plugged in, nothing. It's just a prototype. It has the sapphire on the top and the coils or whatever. And I was dying to see it, so he brought it to show me. It was Mr. Wong, and he just hands it to me. And when he hands it to me, the staff, my arm all by itself moves the staff, touches the ground, raises it up and to the left, and then I feel energy pouring down the staff into my left arm and into my heart, and like it's pulsating here like this, right? And then slowly it slowed down, and then my hand went back and back down and normal, and I give it back to him. So that was my first experience with the staff. And then when I got it and I plugged it in, I realized the plugging it in initially with the frequency was whether it's 1.111 or whatever 102 whatever, um, whatever frequency it is. I work with it for the 30 minutes, 40 minutes or whatever, but then all through the day it's within me. I don't have to hold the staff or anything, right? It stays there, and when I think those numbers or I feel those numbers, I guess is more accurate. I can sustain that energy again. It's so amazing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I know it really is. The other thing um, is about what's so important in using the staff is you really have to get tuned into your energetic body. And of course that's what the DNA does.
Right.
It helps you connect with these higher dimensional beings and places. But if you're not connected to the energy in your body, if you still see yourself as a physical body,
Yeah.
and you then you're not going to be able to do this. Just like if you look at a tree and you see barks and leaves and a tree trunk, and that's what you think that tree is, you're not going to be able to connect with it energetically, because that's not what the tree is. The tree, that's its physical form,
Yeah.
and this is my physical body, but this isn't who I am. Shah, this isn't who you are. Your physical form, that's not who you are, but that's what most people, when they look at someone, that's what they see. They only see the physical form. They don't feel the energy.
Yeah.
And that's so important to be able to experience your own energetic body.
Right.
And then that allows you to connect with other energy, whether it's higher dimensional beings or multidimensional beings or tree spirits or whatever, pyramids, whatever. So
Right.
that's another thing that's really important.
And the whole thing about what came first, the chicken or the egg. Like today, for example, I was supposed to interview somebody, a very like not a celebrity in the sense of celebrity, but to me a celebrity because they are a medium to celebrities and they're a channel for celebrities. Um, and so I had the opportunity to interview. And so in the morning, I was saying, like, one of these days, like, I consider, getting a makeup artist or something because I never do any of that, right? I never cared about it. And in the interview, she gives a message from one of the spirits, and the message, whether it was for me or just she was sharing, was you can always let someone make you up on the outside, but don't let anyone put makeup on your soul. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got my message, right? So crazy. Anyways, so let's talk more about the staff, and let's talk about this whole idea of what came first, the chicken or the egg, because you wanted the staff even before you got the staff. You felt its need or want in your life even before you got it. Let's talk about that a little bit. What was creating that for you? And let's go
Well,
deeper. Go deeper than
it really comes down to synchronicity. So synchronicity is so amazing. I mean, synchronicity, when we get in this synchronistic flow, then everything we experience takes us further, helps us progress on this path, right? The ascension path. And so when I saw David on George Nori and I saw the staff, I had no idea the staff existed.
right,
But like I said, I got this pendant from David a number of years ago, and so I knew who he was. I knew who David was, and but I'd been disconnected from him. And then when I saw that video, that was synchronistic. I was meant to see that video
yeah,
because I was meant to have the staff. And as soon as I saw the video and I heard about this and I saw what the staff is, and then I started watching other videos about the pyramids and people talking about the pyramids and about connecting with Isis and that, then that's when I contacted you and said, I want to order a staff. So those those synchronistic things happening
yeah,
were crucial for me getting the staff, and that's the synchronicity is the result of my higher self telling me, exposing me to these different things, And then I'm really good at, as soon as I'm exposed to something, I go, that's it. I know that that's what I'm doing. That's my next step. And then I just, then I get that. And so that's how I got connected to the staff, was through the synchronicity. And I was ready for it. All the preparation in my life was got me ready for the staff, like you were saying a few minutes ago, that if I hadn't been meditating for years, and if I hadn't found the Pleiadians, and if I hadn't found the Lemurians, and if I hadn't done all this meditation and been exposed to these multidimensional beings, the staff would have meant nothing to me. There would have been no reason for me to get it. But I wanted something that was going to increase my ability, raise my frequency, and help me to more effectively communicate with with these energies. So that's where
So
the
now,
synchronicity is
so
a
now,
major part of that.
so now, tell us about the experience after you get the staff.
Um,
Start in the beginning, like
you
what happened
know,
in the beginning when you got it. I know we were talking about one staff versus the other. Do you have any regrets about that?
oh no,
No.
no, not I don't right now. I mean, that one was more involved, it had more gold in it, which would have been a better conductor. But yeah, no, I'm not disappointed in the staff at all. I mean,
Awesome.
it's really, it's funny though. I had a dream
Ah,
after I had the staff for a month.
yeah,
I had a dream
yeah.
where so this staff has the sapphires, has a big one in the middle, and then has 9 around the outside. And I had a dream where the top of this, where the sapphires, they fell off and
Oh,
they were gone. And I looked at my staff, and it was just blank, the top part.
right,
And I was like so disappointed. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened? How did this happen? And so it felt like this big loss.
right.
And I didn't experience anything different. Um, I'm still not quite sure what that dream was about.
Well, that's
But when I first got the staff, I didn't really experience anything really dramatic. I just know that it helped increase. I mean, I was already connecting with these beings, but I know that it made it easier, and I was more effectively connecting with them
right,
than I had been before.
right.
So,
Um,
and then and then I told you about the incident that I had at Mount Shasta a couple weeks ago, where
Is that your very first metaphysical incident or experience, or has there been a series of them? And could you share them with us?
I mean, since I got the staff,
Yeah.
no, that wasn't the first one. Let's see. Um, I'm not thinking of. I know I've had other ones, but I can't think of them right now. Um, so let me just tell that one, and then
Okay.
because that one's pretty profound. I mean, that one is pretty amazing. So I was at Mount Shasta, and okay, this is one that happened while I was at Mount Shasta. There's a guide there, and his name is Paul Avena. So here comes the wind spirits again. And Paul and I have been brothers, Lemurian and Venusian priests together for many, many lifetimes. He runs this company called Mount Shasta Spiritual Tours. And um, whenever I go to Mount Shasta, I do a tour with him. So I was doing a tour with him, and I brought probably 5 or 6 people with me, and we were on this tour together. And one of the first places we went to, um, we were in a circle, and there was probably there were 6 of us, and there was him and his assistant, and we were in the circle, and I mean the energy in the circle was so amazing. I mean, I'd never. I mean, we just sat down, and this it was a vortex that we were at, and I was one of the a person who was traveling with me, and she's a priestess that works here on my land. My land is called Blissful Earth. That's what this our sanctuary is called. And she came about a month ago, and she does ceremony in here with me. And she was there with me, and we were in the circle, and we went around and we were sharing what who we were and what we were experiencing, and she went like second or third. She went before I did, and she started bringing in light language, and she was like really got the really got the circle going in a really in a high vibration very quickly. And then when she was done, I was sitting there with my staff, and then all of a sudden I could feel the Lemurians so strongly. I mean, they were around our circle. There was probably 15 or 20 of them, and they had their crystals. And what they do is they hold the crystals like I don't know if you can see this, but they hold the crystals at their heart center like this, and they point them at at people in the circle, and so they were doing that, and I mean, I can feel the energy now just telling you. That was just like, it just like brings tears to my eyes that I mean, they're so loving, and all they want to do, they support us so strongly. Here comes the wind spirits again. All they want to do is love us and support us in doing these ceremonies, you know? And so whenever we gather in ceremony, whether I'm here on the land or whether I'm at Mount Shasta. And of course, Mount Shasta is the strongest because that's our home. And so that, and I know because I had the staff that I was experiencing their energies more than I had ever experienced them before. And the staff it was helping me to do that, to experience their energies that way. And I don't really see them, but I definitely feel them. So, like right now, I can feel them here. I can feel them here around the circle
Wow.
and with me, and really supporting and again loving. They love it when we bring in those higher dimensional energies and we connect with our hearts, and then we share that even on Zoom. They really love that we're doing that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. Um, any other examples you want to share? Any other staff examples
um,
to share?
well, let me share that one about the meadow that I shared with you earlier.
Please.
So here we are at Mount Shasta, and we had that experience that day. That was the second day we were there, and then each day we were there, just amazing things happened there. If you ever get a chance to go to Mount Shasta,
I'd love to.
it's like nothing else on the planet. I mean, it is the highest vibrational place on the planet, I think, right now, and um, and it's the highest destination on the planet. So many beings go there. There's what they call um, they have a landing field there where the ships go into the earth. They go into the mountain. Into the city is called Telos, Telos, and they go into the city, and they call it the Sterling Fleet, is what they call the ships that go in there. And these beings come from all over the universe, and they're coming to the planet right now because of the ascension process. They want to be here. This is like nothing else has ever happened like this before in the universe. And
Right.
so all these beings want to be here to witness it, or they want to be here to participate in it.
Right.
And so Telos, the Mount Shasta, they want, that's where they go to
Right.
land. They once I was on that landing field, and Paul of Venus, the guy who leads the tour, he told us to go out into the field and just walk around. He didn't tell us what it was. He
Right.
just said go out in the field. So I'm out there in the field, and all of a sudden I get this image or this impression of the ship going right through my body and
Right.
into the earth.
Right.
And then I go back to where he was, and he says, "Come over here. I'm going to show you something." And he takes a picture, and there's a ship up above my head in the picture.
Wow.
And he said he had never taken a picture of a physical ship before. I mean, it was a physical ship, and And he took a picture of it, and he had the photo of it. He showed it to me right then.
Right.
So that was another. I didn't have the staff back then, but that was last September, I think it was.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was. So then, so when I was at Shasta a couple weeks ago, um, I had an experience where one of the places I had been to with Paul before, it's called the Temple of Love, and it's a Lemurian temple. It was a Lemurian temple at one point. I mean, it's still there, but it's in a fifth dimensional state right now. In the third dimensional state, it just looked like a pile of rocks. And so I had gone there with Paul before, so I went there with Aria. We were just going to go to the Temple of Love, just the two of us, because she had never been there, so I wanted to show it to her. And then, so this is another synchronistic thing. So we get there to where you park, and then you have to walk about a quarter mile. And as soon as we park, this other car pulls up, like about 50 feet away, and they're walking like parallel to us up towards the Temple of Love. And when we got closer to it, this couple, we crossed paths, and we started talking. And so at this time, everyone is on Mount Shasta right now is like there because they're there because the vibration is so high and people want to experience as much as they can. So this couple, they were telling us that they had this dragon that they go and visit, and they do this honoring of this dragon energy. And so they said, well, do you want to come with us? And so we said, sure. So we go with them, and we had the most amazing experience. The person I was with, Aria, she was like, she has all this dragon energy, and she just like her energy was like she was exploding with this energy in her body.
Right.
And then I went before the dragon, and it just lit me up as well. And then the woman who was there with us, she had some kind of um, healing she had done with a shaman, and the shaman told her to to do this certain thing where she was to put dirt on her body, and then she was to have people do this energetic work on her. Well, they asked us if we would help do this energetic work on her, and so we did. So the three of us did this work on this woman, and and it was really really powerful energy. And then right when we were done, and we had a wonderful connection with them. And then ancestors there on the mountain asked me if I would go to this one particular place. It's called Southgate Meadow, and they asked me if I would go to Southgate Meadow to help these native people who had been traumatized there, who had been killed, raped, murdered by these by I don't know if it was by soldiers or whether it was just white men, but they were persecuted there. And they said not only were the native people there stuck there, but the people that had murdered them, they were stuck there too,
Right.
and they wanted me to help them all get free. And so when I went back to our campsite that night, I told some people that what we were going to be. I didn't tell them about the. I just said we were going to go to this meadow,
Right.
and this meadow was a place where the Indians did sacred ceremony. I mean, it was. When we got there, it was a really hard walk because it was like 95 degrees through this desert, and then we get to this meadow, and it was like a big creek running through the middle of the desert, and there were wildflowers. It was so beautiful. It was so amazingly powerful energy. And so I just told these 10 people that went with us. There were 12 of us total. I just told them that we're going to this meadow that has power. I didn't tell them what we were going to be doing. I didn't tell them until we got there. And so when we got there, I told them that we were going to be helping these people get free, that they were stuck there, they were traumatized there, and they couldn't leave that place.
Right.
And just a second, there are airplanes flying overhead. So, so I had no idea Ari and I lead the ceremony together all the time, and usually we have a little bit of a plan, but we had no idea what we were going to be doing.
Right.
But um, but when we got there, we just started. She started chanting, and she's really good at doing light language and chanting, and then I led this DNA activation meditation that I got from Sandra Walter's website that I've been doing for a long time. And so I led that, and then once we did that, the people in the group, we were all in this high vibrational state. I mean, it was very, very powerful, and we could all feel it. And some of the people in the group had never had that experience before, where they could feel that such a my crown chakra now is just like really, really open just talking about this. And so some of the people in the group had never had that experience where they had such a powerful high vibrational experience. And then once we got to that place, there were I was sitting at one point in the circle, and there were three native Indians, two men and a woman, showed up to my right,
Right.
and they were in their etheric body, and they were the one the lead the one man, he was shorter than the others. He told me that they were like they were crying. They were so joyful that we were there to do this because he said that high vibrational beings couldn't help them get free. They needed human beings, and these people have been, I don't know, 100 years. They have been stuck there for 100 years. And so he said that it needed human beings were the ones that needed to free them, that they couldn't do it themselves. And so we did the ceremony, and they were freed. And so I know they were freed because three women came to one of the women in the circle, and they told her that they were free and that they were leaving, and they were so grateful
Wow.
that they could leave. And then another woman in the group, Erin, she was a younger woman. She was like a 23-year-old woman, and she was really a powerful priestess. I could tell she didn't have much experience, but she knew. I could tell that she knew a lot just by the way we talked. I talked with her, and she told me that a native woman came to her and asked her if she could inhabit her body so that she could experience the meta one more time before she left. And she let the woman see the wind spirits coming in. You can hear the chimes. So the woman came into her body, and she just started crying
Right.
with gratitude, and she was appreciating the beauty of this meadow. That this again, this is the most sacred place for their ceremony that you can imagine was in this place. I mean, again, it's this like oasis with a creek like 2 feet wide and about 6 inches deep in the middle, and it comes out of the ground, and it's in the middle of the desert. And so this is where they got their water. This is where they probably couldn't be there. Well, I guess they could be in the wintertime, probably had 20 feet of snow on the ground.
Right.
But I don't know if they were there in the winter or not, but they were definitely there in the summertime. So anyway, so that experience I know was was the result of having the staff really increase my ability to connect with these beings.
Right.
And I know that the staff helped me to have that telepathic communication with them, and then to be able to lead the group
Right.
in that ceremony was it just gives me so much confidence, to have that ability to know that I can connect with whatever spirits are available. The staff gives me that confidence to be able to do that. So.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think I've exhausted my questions for you, and you've shared quite a bit about your life and your experiences with your staff. I'll open it up for a few minutes if anyone has some questions for you. We only have like
Okay.
three people here right now, or two people here right now. I'm not sure. But if anyone has any questions, now would be the time. Anybody? Steph,
You
go ahead.
can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Robert.
Yes. I just came in just a little bit ago. I've been missing these meetings, and this time I was lucky. I barely made it. So I have a question. Where are you at? Where did you experience all this?
That was at Mount Shasta in Northern California.
Northern California. Okay.
Hmm.
Here in the
Have you heard of Mount Shasta?
yes, I have. I am a truck driver by trade, and so I've been through I five up that way. Not exactly into Manchester, but near there.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you had all these experiences with your staff?
Yeah, well, the last experiences that I said, yeah, were with the staff. I've only had the staff, I think, since um, I think I've had it since June, the end of June, I think. So I've only had it like 2 or 3 months, but yeah. So the experiences that I've had the last 2 or 3 months have been with the staff. Yes.
And what kind of frequencies were you running?
Um, the,
Um, you
the
know, I
the frequencies for the staff are given to the members when they get the staff by David Sereda. So they're very
Oh,
specific frequencies. They're not the same frequencies that ship with the wand and the coil. So when you get a staff, you get a list of frequencies. And when you complete those list of frequencies and the instructions for it, you'll get another set of frequencies and so on. So
oh,
yeah, and I pretty much have
okay.
just Robert. I there were like 9 frequencies that I got, and I was like in the seventh or eighth one, I think, when I was at Mount Shasta. So,
amazing.
but I
Nice.
definitely noticed that some frequencies were much more. Sometimes I had frequencies that I didn't like, and
Right.
they weren't very helpful, and so I would. I'd stick with them for a little bit for like 2 or 3 days, and then I would change to another. I'd go up to the next one, and then some of them, there were a few that I loved. It was just I didn't want to leave them because my experiences were much more positive with them.
And I could say I found
Maybe you're the
that too, but I would end up going back to those other frequencies and then have a changed experience after I moved on and came back. So maybe you want to try that too.
Okay. I just saw Elizabeth just asked me what I didn't like about the experience, and what it was, Elizabeth, was it was I felt like anxiety, like it just didn't
Yeah.
it wasn't just my body didn't feel good when when I had trouble sleeping. Like I usually sleep with the staff. I usually sleep with it next to me, and then when I wake up in the morning, I'll put my hand on the crown of it, and so at one point I had to get the staff out of the room. I couldn't sleep with it. It was just too much energy or something. So I put it in the other room.
Hmm.
and does that work the same way or couldn't you just turn it off?
Could I turn it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could have. Yeah. But even if you turn off the generator, the staff still carries that frequency. I don't know for how long,
Yeah.
but that frequency, even with the generator turned off, the staff still would have been at that frequency for a while.
And
And Elizabeth, somebody just asked,
I'd say everyone has their preferences for
what'd you say?
I'd say everyone has their preference for frequencies as well, and something you like, someone else like, and vice versa. So there's more questions though. I think.
Yeah.
Hang on. Um,
I think Elizabeth just asked another question.
I bet it. No, she's. Do you own the Wander coil? No.
No, I don't own a Wander coil. No, I've actually been thinking about getting a coil,
Yeah.
but I haven't done that yet. Yeah.
I bet it stays.
Would you do you own a wand, Elizabeth?
Where are you, Elizabeth?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't hear her either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to unmute.
Okay, sorry about that. I was on my computer. I walked away
Mhm.
with my phone and I'm back on my computer and I lost power on my laptop. So
No
what
worries.
was the question?
Well, you asked if I own a wand or a coil, and I said I did. And I asked you, which do you own? Do you have any?
So I have the wand and the coil, and I've had some pretty interesting experiences with the coil, sleeping with it at night. My dreams have become a lot more vivid. So I was just curious if you had them and what was your experience with them.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm going to get a coil, but I haven't gotten it yet.
The wand, I've had a lot of, so I've been using it on different clients for different ailments and stuff, and I've had a lot of really good positive results with that as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody who's had a negative experience with any of the devices. They've all been.
Well, I get it. I get it. The frequencies, like sometimes when I'm running some of the frequencies, it feels like my nervous system is on overload. So I get it when he says that he didn't resonate with some of them. But like you said, Shiraz, I think that after you just go and you move on to other frequencies. If you go back and try to experience it again, you'll have a different result.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
need to calibrate to the frequencies, and some of our bodies take more calibration than other bodies do, and some of us, our experiences have opened up things for us a little bit already in some aspects, but not others, and it's different for everybody, right?
Yep.
But David Sereda also says you can have a negative effect from frequencies. Like, for example, if you're working with the infinities frequency, either the wand or the coil, and you're having and your thoughts are negative or your words are negative or you're in a bad state of mind, well, you're going to have infinities of that versus a positive experience, right? So it's really important that your being is working with intention in a positive way when you work with the devices.
Yeah. Yeah, that Shiraz is so important. Intention. I forgot to
Yeah.
mention that.
Yeah,
That nothing happens without intention. And
absolutely.
when I set my intention to do anything, whether it's connecting with a certain being or whatever, if I don't set my intention, it doesn't happen, you know? So that is so important. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really important is having faith in the fact that you're having intention and that your
Yeah.
intention holds power, right?
Yes.
If you're just saying words for the sake of words without the faith power behind it, that's the other thing that'll slow down your progress.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions for Bliss?
I have one more. So Bliss, where's your property at? And do you have like retreats or
Mhm.
you just use it for yourself?
No, my property is in outside. It's on an island off the coast of Seattle. It's an
Nice.
hour. It's about an hour from Seattle. You have to take a ferry to get here. And are you familiar with that area, Elizabeth? Where are you from?
No, I'm not. I'm in Texas.
You're in Texas. Well,
Yeah.
I'm in Texas too.
oh, are you? Oh, cool. So, yeah, it's the property is called Blissful Earth. You can check out my website. It's blissful.earth, www.blissful.earth. And we people come here like a woman who's here now. She's been here a month, and she just came. I met her on Instagram, and she wanted to. And I told her about this, and she came, and she's been here a month. So I'm I'm here. Anyone that wants to come visit, you can come visit. If you want to stay longer, you can stay longer, as long as it works out for everyone.
Yeah.
So
So
Blissful,
I'm looking
blissful,
up blissfulearth.com.
no, it's blissful.earth.
Oh, blissful.earth.
Yeah, no .com.
okay, got it.
Okay, guys, any more questions for Bliss or even myself?
I have a wand that I used to use. I'm a truck driver, like I said, and I used to take it with me on the truck.
Right.
And because you drive for hours, and
Yeah.
you so I was using that time to kind of be with the wand, and I found it kind of like a companion.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, the only thing I ever got with it, I have a lot of frequencies.
Yeah.
Um, but the only thing I really got out of it was dreams were more profound. I used I still don't remember my dreams, but when I was using the wand, I could remember more of the dreams because they were more intense.
Yeah,
But that's all I could ever get out of it.
right. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I was doing something wrong.
No, no. Well, it depends on what frequency you're working with, right? If you're working, like the thing is, with a healing frequency, a health frequency, you have to do it consistently. So, whatever you're doing, it can't just be haphazard. So, let's say you're working with a frequency for some health matter. Let's say, I don't know, arthritis. um, then you want to do it consistently. And those who have success have done it consistently for a good 3 months before they get results. And that seems to be the magic number. After about 3 months, they seem to get consistent results. Everyone who's used it consistently usually tells me in about 3 months, oh, wow, this is working, or I noticed change, or whatever. But again, it can't sit up
That's a,
and collect dust. You have to use it.
that, that's a little bit hard for me to do because I'll have some problem or something I need resolved and I'll use either the planets or the cube or the
Yeah,
infinity frequency and then tomorrow I'll come up with something else and then I'll use it for that. I
yeah.
guess I guess frequency is not my middle name.
Well, the thing is that if
Consistency.
you're having positive experiences using it that way, then that's the way you're supposed to use it, right? I'm just saying, generally speaking, other people, that's their experiences. Like, for example, me too, like you, I will work with a frequency for a certain thing for a certain number of time, and then I'll change it. I'll change it to something else. But you and I are experimenting with frequencies where some of these other people have really threatening diseases that they're working with, right?
I have the right frequencies,
Yeah,
right frequencies.
yeah,
I have all of them, but I find it very tedious to just do 10 minutes of one frequency
yeah,
for an ailment,
yeah.
and so I leave it on for hours, and maybe that's the wrong thing to do because I didn't really see any changes.
It's not the wrong thing to do, but when you have an intention and a concentrated plan of what you're doing, your body and your being knows what your plan is and it'll work with you to accomplish that result. Whereas when you don't have a plan or don't have an intention or don't ask for something, then there's many things that can be happening at the same time, but not one thing concentrated on. And therefore, it takes usually longer for results than if you focus on something. What would you say about that, Bliss?
I'm sorry, I was typing something. I'm sorry, I didn't really hear it, Shy Rose. What was it? What was it about?
I was just saying that when you have a focused intention and a plan with whatever you're working with, then the energy knows how to focus or where to focus, and so your results are better and faster versus not having any intention or any plan. Because then,
Yes.
what you're the universe is going to work on whatever it wants to work on at that point, and it could take
Yes.
longer, and it could be, all over the place.
Yes. And then also involved with that, Shairaz, is asking these higher dimensional beings to help us
Yeah,
with healing because they have they have they have access to so much more energy, frequencies and vibrations and information than we have, and so I always ask these beings to help me and they always help,
yeah.
you know so find beings that you connect with, regularly and use them, or angels or beings or ascended masters, whatever. Your higher self is another important resource is your higher self. So
Absolutely.
I just put the name of the book. I just put it up there for Elizabeth. It's called The Secret Teachings of Plants by Stephen Buhner.
Yep, I just
And
Googled it. I found it. Thank you.
good. And then Stephen also has YouTube videos as well. He's an amazing guy. So
Right.
I'm gonna check it out. I'd like to get really more involved in that. When you started out, you were talking about smoking pot and drinking and stuff like that. I was a pot smoker back in the 80s. I stopped, but recently a friend gave me some, and I took one hit of this pot, and I was at one with the whole entire universe, and I couldn't turn it off. Like the plants were talking to me, my dogs were talking to me, the rocks were talking to me. And I was like, oh my God, like this is so like far out. And so I know that we can have this communication without that, the extracurricular activity, I guess. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did ayahuasca to get to that point. Nothing ever happened.
Mhm.
I'm afraid, like, so this friend that gave it to me, I mean, she's a regular pot smoker. She goes to California and picks up gummy bears and all kinds of stuff, and she says, let's do it again, let's do it again. And I'm like, I couldn't turn it off, I couldn't handle it. But I would like to learn how to do that sober.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Yeah,
You don't need those drugs to do this. You don't. It's much
yeah,
better to do without it. And the pot today is a lot different than it was back in the 80s. It's a totally different animal. It's so much more potent than it was back then. So,
yeah. Okay, well, that was a good share. Thank you. I'm going to check that out.
okay, great. Well, I think it's time for us to sign off, huh, Sha?
Absolutely. Thank you
Great. Oh,
for
I
joining.
would like to I would like to get talking more with you, Bliss. I guess I'll
Okay.
get on your website and try to do that.
Where are
okay.
you at? Are you in San Antonio or where are you?
I am in El Paso.
Oh, in El Paso. Okay. We'll connect.
Take care, everyone. Please stay,
Thank you.
and please bring
Okay.
others to these webinars so we can bring the devices to more people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big
Yes.
friends.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye
guys.
bye.
Okay.
All right.
Bye
Thank
bye.
Thank you.
you,
Have a good
everyone.
day. Bye bye.
Love and
Bye
light.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Bliss.
Oh, you're welcome, Shaira.
Thank you so much.